We are passionately Pompey.
Jamal Lowe's onside. The flag stayed down. Jamal Lowe, nonchalant, brilliant. Pompey will be promoted at this rate.
Cheltenham Town, that'll stick in my mind forever.
Pure, unadulterated Pompey.
You can't be involved with this football club and not be emotional. The club is special.
Action and reaction.
It's an exciting challenge. I'm proud to be the manager of Portsmouth.
Giving Pompey fans a voice.
The whole stadium erupted singing Play Out Pompey. It was a surreal moment.
To do it with a club like Portsmouth was just incredible. That was the reason why I joined the club.
This is the Football Hour.
The one team that stands out, that's historic, that's had great success, that has a fan base that is amazingly passionate, is Portsmouth.
So, how do you feel about that performance at the weekend? Are you sensing the buzz and beginning to believe that the Blues can maintain an automatic promotion push? Or is it too early to get carried away? We also want your views this evening on who you believe will be up there at the top of the tree come May the 4th. You can have your say on that as well as anything else related to Saturday's victory, or perhaps looking ahead to the home tie against Fleetwood Town on Saturday. You can do that just by doing the following usual methods. Text Express to 81400, email studio@expressfm.com, or you can tweet us at expressfm. As ever, a good evening, good afternoon, or maybe good morning to wherever you are tuning in from today, and welcome to the Monday Football Hour.
This is the Football Hour, 93.7 Express FM.
A very good evening to you all, and welcome to another edition of the Monday Football Hour with me, Jake Smith, your host for the next hour or so in the absence of James Robbins, who has jetted off to Seville to watch tonight's Nations League match between England and Spain. It's all right for some, eh? I'm joined alongside Mr. Eric Coleborn this evening, who is at hand to help analyse the win at Wimbledon, as well as an update on everything Pompey Women and Pompey in the Community too. As mentioned, we want to know your thoughts on Saturday's 9th league win of the campaign, where you can get in contact with us by all the usual methods. Text Express to 81400, email studio@expressfm.com, or contact us on social media, Twitter @ExpressFM, or Pompey Live-93.7 ExpressFM on Facebook too. The Blues have just claimed win 9 of 13 of the league so far, moving on to a tally of 30 points out of a possible 39. They also remain top of Sky Bet League 1 and still 3 points ahead of nearest competitors Peterborough United in second place. Before we start to delve any deeper into the victory, which saw Portsmouth cement their position at the top of the division, we hear from gaffer Kenny Jackett, who spoke to Andy Moon after the game.
Kenny, congratulations on that victory. What's your assessment of the performance in that day there?
I felt for an hour, we were very good and deserved our lead. Even the first 15 minutes of the second half, we had further chances. I would have loved to have got the third, because you always feel you need that. And then, goals change games. Hansen's got a great strike, mistake by ourselves, and we talked about it at half-time, playing inside football in our defensive third. And he's taken it very well, though, put it in the top corner, and with the 3 subs on, then they got some momentum. Pleased with the players, though. In the last half an hour, we found a way of seeing it through. It wasn't as comfortable as it looked at one stage, but fair play to Wimbledon. They made the last 30 minutes very, very difficult for us, put a lot of pressure on us, and we did well to come through it.
Slight change in the shape, more going a 4-4-2, a 4-4-1-1 today. Or what was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, we had to find a different way of playing today, and with 3 of our 4 natural wingers out, it just shaped my thinking really in terms of the balance of the team. But that happens during the case of a season. You have and you want a strong squad. We had to find a slightly different way of winning today, because when we've had those players missing, playing our normal way, our usual way that's got so far this season, we have looked unbalanced. And Dion Donohue's a different type of player, and in a different way gave us some balance today.
You obviously have plenty of options in midfield. You went for the sort of tenacity of Ben Thompson alongside Tom Naylor today.
Yeah, I fell for Ben Thompson. He's a very good player, and he was in some of his games outstanding, and then 1 or 2 others he's just struggled to get to the pace of it. But it is a learning curve when you come into a club and you come into a different division, and hadn't played regular football for a while, and when the games come thick and fast, you can see a difference physically. So my expectation of him anyway is that now he settles down and goes from strength to strength, and I think he can be a very good and a mainstay for us. And as I said, there's been a few ups and downs so far, but he showed a terrific ability. He showed an excellent character, and I do think now he can be a mainstay in the side and find a high degree of consistency because he played well today.
What happened at half-time? Because we had a situation with you out, yourself out, Neil Ardley out, the subs out, and then it was a long wait for Wimbledon. What was going on?
Yeah, you'll have to ask someone else. I've got no idea. Yeah.
It's just bizarre, though. You kind of come across that too many times.
Yeah, I've got no idea, to be honest with you. What happened? It's just, yeah, I don't know. I haven't asked yet, to be honest with you. And as you said, bizarre, yeah.
19 out of 21 points away from home. How significant, how pleasing, and what's the key?
Yeah, it's really good, and we would have, liked the last half an hour to be more comfortable. But fair play to Wimbledon. They made the changes and got a good goal and got back into the game, but in the end, yes, I've just talked to the players in there about an outstanding away record so far this season. We go next Saturday Fleetwood, and then the following Tuesday Burton, both home games. So we have to be pleased with today and make sure that we look forward now, because we want to crack it at home. It's a great chance for us. The last few games at home, I don't think, I'm not being negative, we haven't quite put the performances in that have warranted good results, and we've had 2 draws and a loss. So we do want to improve. We've got to recognise it. We have to talk about it. We have to set out to making sure that we focus on the home games. If, and it is an if, we need to play things slightly different, then we will. But from my own point of view as a manager and for the players, we have to look forward now at making sure that we capitalise on home advantage, because so far our away record's been outstanding.
Just finally, Nathan Thompson went down holding his ankle a couple of times. Is he okay? Any word on that?
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. I don't think that it'd be anything that will stop him, competing against Fleetwood or Burton.
That was Kenny Jackett speaking to Andy Moon following Saturday's 2-1 win over AFC Wimbledon. Again, don't forget, if you want to get in touch this evening, you can start your text with the word Express to 81400. Don't forget to use the word Express. That is very important. Email studio@expressfm.com, or you can tweet us at ExpressFM, or visit our Facebook page, Pompey Live-93.7 Express FM. Alongside me tonight is Eric Coleborn. A very good evening to you, Eric. It's great to see you again.
Good evening, Jake. Yes, it's fantastic to be here after such a fantastic weekend.
Really was a great game, wasn't it? Well, first and foremost, before we do get into anything about that game, we are saddened to hear of the passing of legendary commentator Peter Brackley at the age of 67. He'd worked alongside the BBC and Sky and was best known for his part in bringing Italian football to life in the 1990s on Channel 4. He also worked at 4 different World Cup tournaments for the ITV. Our thoughts, of course, are with Eric's family and friends at this difficult time. Certainly a true inspiration to look up to, Eric.
Yes, indeed. He was an excellent commentator over many years, and I certainly listened to a lot of his Italian football commentaries in the 90s. And yes, it's a great shame, because he's a very, very talented man, not just a commentator, but in his out of the his theatre work as well, as we know with the job he did for us at the Kings not that long ago.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we better kickstart the show with that magnificent result on Saturday. I was at the game on Pompey Live with Liam Howes and Knightsey, and we all agreed that, I'm sure most of the ground will too, that despite a very impressive first half performance, we perhaps rode our luck a little bit in the second.
Yes, goals change games, don't they, Jake? And I think the goal was the big turning point. Up to then, I was relatively happy. Yes, I'd have liked to be more goals ahead, but I thought we were controlling the game. Even in the second half, I thought we were controlling the game. You would expect them to come out, especially after making 3 subs at half time. They were going to come out and really give it a go at the beginning of that second half, but I thought we'd done rather well in that first 15 minutes or so, up to the goal. And then, as they say, goals change games, and it certainly made a vast difference. And from being where I thought it was, I'd say, a matter of time before we got a third goal, but I thought we would get a third goal, to suddenly thinking, how much longer is it? How much longer have we got to hang on here, sort of thing. But that's football. That is how it goes. It can change so quickly. It's a big game of ifs and buts. Like you say, we could have easily been 3 or 4 ahead at half time. We had a number of opportunities going forward. I think, especially at 2-0 up, perhaps it was just a little bit of perhaps the players thought they'd won the game at that point. I think before that,
at 0-0, 1-0, we were playing the ball very nicely, getting everyone involved to try and break open the Wimbledon defence. But I think after that, maybe just perhaps sat back a little bit and didn't play like that again. I'm not sure if...
Yes, I think the 3 substitutes at half-time surprised everybody. It certainly surprised me. I was amazed at 3 substitutes at half-time. You're thinking, blimey, they've only got to pick up an injury. Could have picked up an injury in the first minute of the second half. They're down to 10 men for the rest of the game. And it took us a bit of time, I think. Obviously, they were really going to go for it at the beginning of the second half. With those substitutions, you can imagine the discussion in the dressing room at half time. I should imagine the manager was really having a go and trying to get them going for the second half. They come out and they were going to cause us problems. They're at home, of course they're going to have to. They're 2 down. They've got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
and then obviously you're thinking we're protecting a 2-0 lead here, and I think you do get it in the back of the mind. As soon as they scored, the whole thing changed. It was a complete change. And obviously we didn't want to let them in to get an equaliser. And you do sit back a bit and you get deeper and deeper. And
I think after the shock 2-0 defeat at home to Gillingham the previous week, it just takes into consideration just how impressive that, not only the result, but also the performance of which the Blues delivered it as well, to come back and be able to bounce back from a defeat yet again. We've not dropped points in consecutive league games this season. Yet again, we've come back and we've won the game, and we've shown for teams out there just what we can do.
Yes, I think there's the point here. I would specifically come away from home. Kenny goes out to win every game. Most teams, a lot of teams, they go away not to lose, and that's the big difference. I think we go out and we are trying to win every game of football.
Yeah.
It's such a refreshing change, to be honest with you. I mean, was it 6 wins and a draw away from home out of 7 games?
Yeah, my draw was a 0-0 at Doncaster, which we look likely to win that as well. We do perform really well away from home. That sets up nicely to a text from Mel. Good evening, Mel. A nervy second half, but the boys did good. Another nice win at home, and we'll be on our way. Well, got Fleetwood at home this Saturday. They're on good form. They're just outside the playoffs, and we'll speak about those later on. I think, Eric, that first half, as we talk about, is perhaps one of the best halves of football by Pompey this season. I mean, we've had a lot of good times where we played nice football this season, but we'd had a second half against Plymouth. We won 3-1, scored 2 other goals in that half and completely ran them all over the show. And the second half against Oxford, we put 4 past those. But I think just on Saturday, we just edged it against Wimbledon.
I certainly, yes. I mean, the first half I thought was excellent. The movement, that's what I picked up on, the movement. There was some tremendous movement from players. The second goal in particular was so well made. It was an excellent piece of work by the whole team. The movement, the way players are pulling other defenders out the way, and it really was a great performance. And 2 goals, as you say, we could have been easy 4 up at half time, couldn't we? Let's be fair about it.
Yep, thank you, Eric. And join us after this quick break, where we will continue to dissect Saturday's win over AFC Wimbledon.
The Football Hour, sponsored by Snowes BMW Portsmouth. Now offering 7-day MOT testing. Visit snowsgroup.co.uk/BMW and book your MOT today. This is the Football Hour, 93.7 Express FM.
A very good evening to you here on the Football Hour on 93.7 Express FM. We've got a tweet from Declan Harris. Feel as if again Tom Naylor going very much under the radar of the hard work he puts in. He put the crossfield pass and was key in our second goal. And even after Gareth Evans' mistake, which led to their goal, you could see just how much he was trying to get in the way. A very passionate player. Well, I completely agree with you there, Declan, and that leads perfectly onto our next talking point.
So Donohue's going to send a left-footed in-swinger under the crossbar header, and is it cleared off the line? No, it's in. It's got to be a goal. And Tom Naylor has his first Portsmouth goal. A towering header. The set pieces were mounting up for Pompey, and they finally made one pay. Tom Naylor. It's Wimbledon 0, Portsmouth 1.
That was Tom Naylor's first goal for Pompey. It was a great delivery by Dion Donoghue, Eric, to give Naylor his first goal, not only for the Blues, but his first goal in football since New Year's Day.
Yes, I think Tom's a player which I think is improving game on game. I think he's getting better and better as the season's gone on, and he's not the only player that's doing that. You know, other players are going under the radar. Everybody sort of concentrates on the goal scorers, but some of the build-up play from other players has been really, really good and does go under the radar. And certainly Tom Naylor is one of those players that I think is improving all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I believe he is one of the biggest unsung heroes of the season so far. He was my man of the match on Saturday by a long distance, and I think he seems to be comfortable in his midfield position. He seems to state that claim as his. We've got Ben Thompson and Ben Close challenging with one another for second place, but no one seems to talk about dropping Tom Naylor, and for good reason, obviously. But he just seems to be, as you say, just one of his players going under the radar who's constantly in the team. You don't really pick up on him as much because we've got Jamal Lowe, Ronan Curtis playing so well. And that leads on to a tweet from Sarah Powers. Good evening, Sarah. It was not to get a win on Saturday and show that we are not a one-man team. Obviously, we missed Ronan, but plenty of other options. Great depth in our squad this season. Eric, we've got fantastic depth, as you say.
Yes, I mean, you forget Ronan Curtis wasn't playing.
Well, yeah.
That's the point there. But we have got some fantastic players. I mean, Donoghue coming back, I thought he was excellent. Absolutely, brilliant in that first half. And he wasn't the only player. You've got so many players that are playing well and going under the radar. But it's a team game and it's a squad game. That's the beautiful thing here, is that Kenny's a master at this, taking a player out and putting another player in for a particular reason. It's a squad game. I always get annoyed when people say, "Oh, so and so's been dropped." It's a squad. It's not about it's about getting the best 11 players on the pitch at that precise time for the opposition that you're facing. And as I say, I love Kenny's attitude that we go to win every game. And that's so exciting, especially when you go away from home. To go and you know that we're going out here and we're going to try and win this game. We're not going to sit back and take the draw. You get out there and you go for the win, and it's so refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the squad we've got on our bench and in our reserves as well. I know we had David Wheeler and Andre Green out with injuries at the weekend and for the next month or so, but even before this weekend, where we had them on the bench just not playing because of how attacking we play and how well we have been doing, really. But speaking of unsung heroes, I think as well, Lee Brown. I spoke to a Bristol Rovers fan yesterday, and they really do miss him. I think he's getting on a little bit, but he's got some great crosses and he's got a great eye for pass going forward. And he set up Evans' goal on Saturday. I think he's a real key figure to have in our side.
Yes, another player that is, I think, got better and better as the season's gone on. He's really showing what he can do now. Again, on Saturday, you say, that was a brilliant delivery for the second goal. Great run as well. It was the movement. That's what I like to see. I like to see that movement of a player fullback going through in that position, getting to the byline, getting the ball back over, and that's what leads to, well, simple goals. I mean, Evans still had to finish it, obviously, but for Gareth, that was a fairly simple finish, and he obviously put it away lovely. And that's what's making the difference at the moment. Players are nearly all the players are getting better and better as they're going along, and as players, somebody gets rested and somebody else gets brought in for whatever reason, they then start to develop and move forward. I mean, the manager's must have a headache every team selection he has to make. Who does he put in and who does he leave out? Because it is getting very, very difficult, because every player out there on Saturday, you've got to say, well, they all had a good game. So therefore, it's very, very awkward, I think, for the manager. It's a nice headache for him to have, I'm sure, but it's a problem that we've all got our favourite players that we like to see in the side for whatever reason, and it's trying to fit them all in, isn't it?
We speak about going forward and how great we are going forward, but we also don't concede many, if actually any at all, this season from a crossing position on the wings. I've noticed for a couple of own goals, penalties, and 2 or 3 excellent strikes from Aaron Wilbraham at Rochdale, Tom Eaves for Gillingham and Hanson on the weekend. They pegged us back. But I think Lee Brown and Nathan Thompson as well are vital to our defence just as much as Matt Clark and Jack Watmore are.
Oh, absolutely. They all play their part. There's no getting away from that. I think that the solidarity, that solid defence that we've got, and let's not forget, I think the goalkeeper has had a phenomenal sort of 13 games or whatever so far this season. He's giving everybody that confidence. He breeds confidence, and I think that helps the whole back line.
He seems to pull out of just a great save every game, really. A great save or two every game. And Saturday, I noticed there was a save he made. He caught it with both hands. He's very comfortable with it. It was going near enough for top corner. And
the Andy Barcham one.
The Andy Barcham one, that's the one in the first half. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think it is unfortunate to have conceded the amount of goals he has from perhaps mistakes here and there, but it's not too much of a negative to Brown. He's a fantastic goalkeeper. We got a text in from Stevie B in West Sussex. A great result on Saturday. The ground was awful and poor and not up to League One standard. It was like going back into the 80s where we were squeezed in like sardines. But a great win and Pompey till I die. Eric, have you been to Kingsmeadow before?
Yes, 2 or 3 times at least. Yes, I mean it's not the greatest of stadiums. Let's be fair about it. It was a non-league ground. Was a non-league ground. At least the pitch on Saturday was good. Yeah. That's, I think, probably down to the fact that Chelsea now own it, and they played, I think, their reserve games and their women's team there as well.
Well, it's obviously a good pitch. They played the day after against Arsenal yesterday, live on BT. So, yeah, great. But in terms of the stadium itself, and in particular the away end, I've been in it before. It is hard to see the game, but I think it creates a good atmosphere for the away ends and a good positive vibe amongst the away fans.
Yes, I mean, again, it's very disappointing. We were talking in the break about the fact that so few tickets that we get, and that is disappointing. I was just, for once, delighted that the game was able to be shown on TV, on subscription TV, for those supporters that couldn't get to the game. That was nice on this particular occasion. And it's one of those grounds that, let's be, if I'm honest, I'll be pleased that we hopefully won't be going there again next season.
Yeah, indeed. We've got a text from Jill in North End. Hi, Jake and Eric. Congrats to Kenny and co. A strange result for Gillingham. They lost to Southend at the weekend, whereas obviously we picked up another win. But perhaps from me now, Eric, could it or should it have been more? It was a very comfortable first half. We had perhaps 2 or 3 wasted opportunities. Hawkins, after a scramble after Lowe with some great bit of skill, but there was also 1 or 2 opportunities where Lowe could have laid off Hawkins. Do you think, I mean, the game's over now, we've won 2-1 obviously, but at the time, myself and Liam, we were thinking that could have easily come back to bite us.
Well, yes, obviously 2-0 is always a dangerous score, so they say, because the next goal becomes vitally important. Obviously Wimbledon got it, and that sort of turned the goal, changed the game. But I mean, that is football. I'm just pleased we're making the chances. That's the first thing. You've got to make the chances to score the goals. And at least we are making the chances. Yes, there are occasions when I suppose our how can you put it, decision making, as they call it, isn't perhaps all it could be. But hey, these players are making the runs to get in the positions to get a chance in the first place. That's the first part of the battle. And at the end of the day, as long as you keep making the chances, you're going to score the goals. Yes, okay, on Saturday we probably should have had more goals and we should have been more comfortable. But at the end of the day, we've taken the 3 points, which is what it's about. And when it was 2-1 with half an hour left, I was a little bit on the nervous side, but the boys have done the job yet again.
Yep. We're going to have a text in from Mark. Nice to hear the Kenny and Joe song on Saturday. Reminds me of the Harry and Jim song when we won the championship. Well, hopefully that is a good omen, Mark. And that concludes part 2 of this Monday's Football Hour. Join us after the short break where we further discuss the weekend victory at Kingsmeadow, as well as hearing from Blue striker Ollie Hawkins.
The Football Hour, sponsored by Snowes BMW Portsmouth. Click snowsgroup.co.uk/BMW for our latest offers across the BMW range. This is the Football Hour, 93.7 Express FM.
Welcome back to the Monday Football Hour with myself, Jake Smith, filling in for James Robbins, and keeping me company this evening, Eric Coleborn. After the win at Wimbledon on Saturday, Andy Moon caught up with Blues striker Ollie Hawkins.
Congratulations, another away victory. It's becoming a serious habit.
Yeah, I mean, we look very strong away from home, and I don't know if that's 7 wins out of 8 or something.
6 out of 7.
6 out of 7, yeah. We look very strong, and again, today's performance again showed, obviously, with a bit of pressure at the end in the last 20 minutes, and it just showed how good we've been doing away from home.
First half, though, going forward, that feels as good as the side's played for some time, creating openings. Yeah,
I mean, we had a lot of chances. I think that's the first game this season for myself. I had a few chances, and I think everyone had a few chances each, really. And I mean, yeah, it was positive going 2-0, but maybe we could have been 3 or 4-0 up if you're critical a little bit. But we done well first half, and then, like I said, second half you could say we done well, but just defensively we done well to sort of hold on and get the win.
Because the storm was weathered, but they really came back when they got a goal.
When they scored, obviously, it was any team really sort of drop off and let the pressure come, and we did, and I think we coped really well with it. Obviously they bring on Hansen, who's a big lump, and he's very good in the air, and I thought we done well with him, and we was able to sort of keep the win.
How different was it having that slight change of formation and Jamal sort of playing just off you?
Yeah, I mean, we worked on it a little bit the last couple of days, and I think this game sort of helped. I think you needed to sort of have someone up there with myself, or if it was Pitts playing, you needed maybe 2 up front, this sort of game it was, and especially with the conditions, it really helped the first half that when the ball come up to me, I was able to sort of flick it on first time if I needed to Jamal, or get hold of it and set for Jamal to run on, and I think it worked first half, and you could see with all the chances we had and the goals we scored that it was working. And obviously second half it again with the conditions and when they bring on some subs, it was harder to do, but we got the win.
Very bizarre moment at half time where you seem to be waiting an age for the second half to get going.
Yeah, I'm confused. I don't know what happened there, but maybe it was a tactic to try, and it might have worked really because they scored really in the second half. So, but it was very strange.
Just generally though, what can you put the away form down to be that good? Because 6 out of 7 is a pretty amazing record.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like I say, we try to be a solid unit all round, try and not make mistakes and capitalise on teams, and we're very patient away from home, I'd say more than at home, and it's been going well for us. I can't put a nail in the head at the moment, but I feel like we're very confident away from home and strong.
And just finally for you, good to be back in the side. I know it's probably going to be a case of you and Brett switching at various times, but good to get another start out there.
Yeah, I think obviously Gaffer maybe thought like this would have been a game for myself, obviously with the way they play, and they got a lot of big players, so I was happy that I was called on and could do my part. Obviously you always want to top it off with a goal or something, and I was close, I had a couple of chances, didn't go my way, but like I said, I'm just happy with the win.
So Eric, we spoke before the break about the game at Wimbledon on Saturday, and in particular the first half, so now let's talk about where it almost perhaps went wrong. After the half-time interval, something strange happened which left the few thousand at Kingsmeadow rather confused, as Ollie Hawkins has just said in his post-match interview. Even he or the team didn't know what was going on. What happened was the home side didn't actually emerge from a tunnel for around 8 or 9 minutes when the second half was supposed to be started. It was later confirmed that the Wimbledon striker Joe Pigott had actually thrown up in the home dressing room rather nicely, which of course delayed the proceedings and forced manager Neil Ardley to, change the changes he had already planned to make. Eric, have you ever experienced anything as bizarre as this in your years following Pompey?
No, I don't think I have. Not under those circumstances. I've experienced teams delaying their coming out for the second half, normally to try and put the other side off, but obviously on Saturday I'm assuming that they were intending to make 2 substitutions at half time, and they obviously then made 3. Very, very bizarre. I thought at the time that was very strange, and something wasn't right because of the fact of the time it had taken to get those subs out, or the team back out on the pitch. But no, I haven't seen a delay of that type before, certainly.
It seemed as though at one point there were the 11 Pompey players on the pitch. We had the Wimbledon team on the bench. We had the Pompey management on the bench, and we had just 1 or 2 players of Wimbledon actually on the pitch. It looked as though that was perhaps what we needed last week against Gillingham, just to be playing 11 versus 2. But it was a second half onslaught, I think, by Wimbledon on Pompey. They made their 3 subs. We had Tanai Watson, Andy Bartram, former Pompey man himself, and obviously Joe Pigott coming off for Will Nightingale, Anthony Hartigan and James Hansen, who, in my opinion, James Hansen alongside with Kwesi Appiah up front, they completely changed the game.
Well, yes, I mean, obviously the manager decided that it was necessary to make sweeping changes, and yes, I suppose it paid off for them to the point that they won the second half 1-0, if you like. But you were always expecting that to be the case, or I was certainly expecting it to be the case, that they would change it. They couldn't carry on like they were in the first half, because I'm sure they realised they were fortunate not to be further behind. So they had to make big changes. Obviously, it got totally confused at that half time, what exactly was going on. And really and truly, they were very fortunate, because it could have easily backfired on them. You get an injury in the second. I mean, they could have, anything could happen in that second half. If a player injured in the first minute of the second half, what are they going to do? They're down to 10 men for the rest of the game. So it was a big gamble, and I suppose you can say they got away with it, at least from the point of view that they won the second half 1-0. But fortunately, that wasn't good enough to win the game, as they say, or get anything out of the game.
No, it wasn't enough. Unfortunate for Pompey, of course. Let's go back to the text, tweets and emails. Got a tweet from Wayne Harris, Pompey historian. The players, particularly our attacking ones, seem to play with more freedom and less haste whilst away from Fratton Park this season. Saturday was no exception, as the game should have been over as a contest by half-time. Great first half, frustrating at the moment for the Fratton crowd. An email from Mark. Good evening, Mark. A long way to go. Let's not get carried away. A great first half performance, and the second half could have thrown it away. We just got to keep going. Eric, he says, let's not get carried away. He's right, of course, but do you feel the way we're playing that an automatic promotion now could well be the target?
Well, as you say, you don't get carried away, and certainly Kenny and the team won't be getting carried away, but here we're supporters and we can get carried away, which is the difference. 30 points reached after 13 games, that speaks volumes. And certainly you will be looking at it now and thinking, we've got a good chance of getting certainly at least a playoff place. I think it's fair to sort of dream that far ahead. And you can never tell about the automatic, because you could get two teams have a whirlwind of a time now, and that happens.
Well, we proved that when we won the League Two title, didn't we? We didn't really push into those automatic promotion places until kind of end of February, March time, and then from then on we went on a complete rampage to get an automatic promotion place and even win the division. But it could have been more on Saturday, and if it wasn't for one Joe McDonnell in the AFC Wimbledon goal, you mentioned him earlier. He had a fantastic game. There was a point in the first half where Nathan Thompson put a delicious through ball, chip ball to Gareth Evans. It was a great touchdown, perhaps a little bit lucky, but he had his shot saved by the feet of Joe McDonnell, and also a 20-yard strike from Tom Naylor in the second half could have had his second goal, and what a goal it would have been.
Yes, I mean that was a great strike and a great save, and also he saved from Naylor's header from a corner before he actually scored. Got it off the line with his foot. So yes, I mean the goalkeeper did have a very good game for Wimbledon. To be fair, kept him in it. They'd have been out of it, or could have easily been out of it by half time, but no, he kept him in it, and fair dues to him, he had an excellent game. Sometimes it's easier actually for a goalkeeper if he is involved a lot in the game. It's when the goalkeeper's been standing around doing nothing for half an hour, and suddenly a whirlwind of a shot turns up, and first action he's got is to take the ball out the back of the net. You often see that, but no, it's to be fair to the Wimbledon goalkeeper, he had a great game on the day, and he certainly earned his money on Saturday.
We speak earlier about the strength and depth that Pompey have this season, and it's a real selection headache from Keddy Jackett and his management team, especially when it comes to Ollie Hawkins and Brett Pittman. The two strikers have divided opinions amongst fans this season. Pittman, of course, providing quite a few goals in his rather mere presence in the squad this season. We got a text from John Tyler. Good evening, John. Hawkins cannot convert chances or half chances. All Pitman needs is a sniff. Do you agree with this, Eric? And do you think that perhaps Pitman should be brought back into the squad at Hawkins' expense?
Well, this is Kenny's job. That's what he's paid for. They're two different types of player. Yep. You've got to realise that they have different. They bring different advantages to the team.
Hawkins brings the ball down a lot and allows Jamal Lowe, in my opinion, and Ronan Curtis to actually go forward. And I think perhaps if it wasn't for Hawkins, then these two players on the wings perhaps wouldn't have shone as much. Whereas I think Brett Pitman, although he's a fantastic player, we knew that from last season, but in comparison to Ollie Hawkins, who does bring that to his game, although Brett Pitman brings goals, I think, as you say, Ollie Hawkins is much more of a team player.
Yes, and I think it also depends on the opposition. We've all seen games where the ball spends more time up in the sky than it does on the ground, and sometimes you need that big centre forward to win your ball, and then there's other times when you need that little nous around the box to score the goals that Brett does. So Kenny's job is he will know when to bring players in and out, and that's it. It's a squad game. You can get a situation where you might start with one player and finish with the other player, like we did on Saturday. I mean, Hawkins started, Pitman came on latter part of the game.
Speaking of bringing players back into the squad, Eric, Dion Donoghue, he came back into the squad last week, almost a week ago now, at Crawley in the Checkatrade Trophy. Now, although it is not a league game, so perhaps he could have been forgiven to bringing him into that team, but certainly with the absence of Ronan Curtis this weekend, he'd done really well to fill his boots. I think not in the same position maybe, but I think after everything that's happened in his personal life off the field, illness, injuries, and of course the near tragic events of his child's birth, which fortunately have turned out okay for both baby and the mother, it's just great and refreshing to see him back on the pitch.
Absolutely, and what a goal at Crawley as well. That was a lovely finish.
The Welsh Messi, Liam Howes described him as on that evening.
Well, I must admit, I thought it was an excellent goal. It was a lovely piece of build-up from the lads, and nice to see a situation there where a good layoff to Donoghue, and Donoghue's, dummied the defender, brought it back and put it right in the corner of the net. It was a lovely goal.
It was a fantastic goal.
Let's be fair about it. If Brett Pitman had scored it, we'd have all been saying,
we're talking about it for weeks.
Yes, that's it. But obviously, Dion's not noted for his goals as much, but that was a fantastic strike. Great piece of play, and as I say, just another piece of the jigsaw for us.
Too right. Thank you again, Eric, and join us after this short break where we will be talking everything Pompey Women and Pompey in the Community, as well as looking ahead to Saturday's fixture against Fleetwood Town.
The Football Hour, sponsored by Snow's Mini Portsmouth. Explore more corners with the new Mini 3-door hatch. More fun than ever, the iconic 3-door hatch embodies the essence of low centre of gravity handling and exhilarating go-kart feel. Who's in? This is the Football Hour, 93.7 Express FM.
Welcome back to the fourth and final part of the Monday Football Hour here on Express FM. It's just gone 10 to 7 on Monday the 15th of October. So let's continue by focusing on a few things that I believe Eric Coleborn is eager to share with us. I believe you are in the know surrounding Pompey Women and also Pompey in the Community.
Well, yes, certainly Pompey Women, as one of my hats, as they say, as chairman of. We didn't play this weekend. We were supposedly playing in the Cup, but the fixture hadn't been decided who we were going to play, so they had to play the deciding game, and which means that we'll be at Casham in Bristol next weekend for that game. We don't have another home game until Sunday the 18th of November in the league against Oxford. It's just the way the league works, but we may have another cup game at home before that. And of course the big news is the sponsorship, the announcement of the sponsorship, which has just gone up on the club website. Pompey Women being sponsored by Portsmouth University, front as shirt again, so it'll be the same for the women as it is for the men. which is fantastic. I think it's so important that we get this equality in football, and it's great that the university are on board, because it brings that the whole educational side of things to the fore, which is so important, and that there's going to be so many tie-ups between our good selves and the university now in recruitment, outreach, research projects, and so much more. And hopefully we're going to see some of the women in the university coming through into the actually Pompey Women's team, which would be great for the area. I mean, with 23,000 odd students now, whatever it is, it's fantastic. And I must say, we had a fantastic team shoot with the university on Thursday evening at First Lane on the all-weather pitch there, with the Vice-Chancellor and the head of the Students' Union as well. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Great to see everybody, so positive. It's so exciting going forward. And I know Michael Eisner considers education so important, as we all do, I'm sure. And it's just a great partnership, which I'm loving for the next 3 years.
So I assume the Pompey Women, the players themselves, will benefit from this sponsorship deal and being able to perhaps use the facilities at University of Portsmouth.
Well, there's all sorts of things that can tie up here. One of the great things with the university, and one of the things that they are very good at, I think they're the best in the country, is sports science, and that's obviously going to be a big thing going forward with Pompey Women, because we need help in that area, and they are going to be able to provide it. But there's so many projects that tie in so nicely between the university and ourselves, and it's great that they've gone. Okay, the men's the big thing, the men's sponsorship, fantastic. But to add on the women to it is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and it's just what we need.
So when can we next expect to see Pompey Women in action? You say the next home game is the 18th of November, which is just over a month away, but when are they next playing?
Well, we're away next week in the Cup at Keesham in Bristol. A long way to go. Unfortunately, a lot of our teams that we play in the league are spread all over the country. We've got Plymouth to the west, we've got Cardiff, we've got Loughborough, we've got MK Dons, Basildon, QPR, Gillingham. They're spread really far and wide.
A lot of tough games in there as well.
Absolutely, yes. And if the game, I can assure you, is very professional at our level. These teams are very, very keen to show what they can do, and the level of skill is quite surprises me anyway. They really do play some lovely football, and that's what we're trying to promote at Pompey Women, is to get that ball down and really play some lovely football, rather like the men.
Yeah. So as Eric has just mentioned, Pompey Women next fixture is on Sunday at Keesham, which is in Bristol in the Cup. So if you are following Pompey Women, and if you have nothing to do on Sunday, which I'm sure Pompey Women superfan Ian Chiverton will be off to a game himself. So now moving on to Pompey in the Community, Eric. I understand there was a bike ride to Wimbledon this weekend, which raised money for what exactly?
Yes, indeed. They're not just doing that either. This coming weekend, they've got they're running the Great South Run, and I know that Stephen Phillips and Andrew Horner are two of the guys that are taking part in the PITC team. This is a charity run, and if you go on to the PITC webpage, you can donate through their Just Giving page, and all the details are on there. They're also have the pink running tops which they're using, and they're available for sale at Portsmouth in the Community. £25 buys you one of those, and I know they're actually very popular. A lot of people have been asking to buy them, so that's great. And again, congratulations to all the riders who rode or cycled to Wimbledon on Saturday in the Wheels for All project, and they raised £4,000 doing that, which is great. supported by Larkham Solicitors, Bishop's Move and the Gym Group, amongst others. So brilliant, well done to all there.
Yep, and I hope they'll be leaving their bikes at home for the Great South Run. I hope they'll be running for that and not cheating.
I think you could. I think that's hopeful, Jake. Yes, they will. They might use their bikes to get to the Great South Run, but from there on, I'm sure they'll be using two legs and giving the best that they can.
So, do you have a quick figure which we can share now on how much was raised?
Sorry, for the Wimbledon was £4,000.
£4,000,
and obviously the Great South Run. That's on
still going
this weekend coming. So we're going to have to wait and see how much. But let's hope they can do even better on the Great South Run. But do get on the PITC sponsor page, Just for Giving page, and sponsor whoever, because they're all doing a fantastic job, absolutely fantastic.
And just quickly before we do wrap up this evening on what has been a big Monday football hour, we've had a lot to talk about tonight. Just looking ahead to this weekend's fixture against Fleetwood Town at Fratton Park, Pompey will be looking to pick up a win for the first time in 3 home league matches. Eric, how do you see this one going? Pompey perhaps slightly off par at home this season. Fleetwood have won 3 times away from home, including a 5-0 and a 4-0 win quite recently, actually. How can you see this one going?
Well, I think you find that you can never tell, obviously, but I do feel that the lads are really, really getting together now, and I'm very confident that not just Fleetwood on Saturday, but of course we've got Burton Tuesday night after that. 2 home games on the trot, and I'm sure we can make the most of those 2 games. If I can remind people also that tickets are available for both games, mainly in the Milton end, but they're already on sale, so get down there, get your tickets. There's also upgrades available for people that in the North Stand or the Fratton end who'd like a bit of hospitality in the Alliance Lounge, and you can upgrade for that. Just get in contact with Pompey Football Club, the ticket office, and they'll tell you how to do it.
So as Eric has just mentioned, Pompey at home this weekend against Fleetwood Town. Nearly said AFC Wimbledon then. We just played them, of course. So if you are yet to get a ticket for that match, please do get one. There are some availability in the Milton end alongside the away fans, of course. So that almost wraps up this evening's football hour. A fantastic thank you to Eric Coleborn for joining me tonight. Thank you, Eric.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And you can join us again on Thursday. Well, not myself, but James Robbins will hopefully be here if he is able to catch his flight home from Seville, where he'll be watching tonight's England match against Spain in the UEFA Nations League. He will be joined by a Portsmouth player as they talk about everything Pompey and looking ahead to Saturday's game. So once again, thank you, Eric. Thank you to all listening, wherever you may be, and we'll see you Thursday.
Play up Pompey.